This is great. This is great. Hey, what's up? This is Andrew from The Show Radio. Just wanted to share a couple of things with you. One of the main things I wanted to talk about this particular session, if you will. I don't know what I'm going to call these, but this particular session, I definitely want to talk about why I started podcasting. Definitely want to talk about that because ever since, I would say 2009 of August, that whole world changed for me when I wanted to be a voice in the community. I always thought about, okay, so I hear all these different shows and they're doing their thing, they're having a good time, but I wanted to have my show out as well, and I didn't know what to call it. So one of the first things I did is I called it my tag name, Uriah, right? And after I said to myself, you know what? I don't necessarily want to call it Uriah, right? I wanted to change it up, and I wanted to have the show to have a name that didn't necessarily have a name, that I can actually be flexible with it in terms of evolving into the future and things like that. So one of the main reasons, I guess I'll do some bullet points as I'm talking here. One of the main reasons I started podcasting was because I wanted to be friends with the individuals that I was listening to on a regular basis. I believe that was possible. I believe that if I created a show, maybe, just maybe, I can invite these individuals on my show. And then after I invite them on my show, we can actually build a friendship or relationship from there, depending on how that would actually go. I don't know. But I definitely wanted to have some kind of bond and relationship, kind of like a fraternity type conversation with the individuals I was listening to on a regular basis. Some happened fairly quickly, some didn't happen. Some became marred over time. Some just, were null and void over time. So, I actually experienced that, through my 6.5, almost 7 years of actually being on a microphone, talking about tech, gaming, entertainment. Now it's evolving into something a little bit different, some lifestyle stuff ever since I changed my car back in June of 2016. So the whole enthusiast BMW scene is actually hitting me from there. Then you actually have the lifestyle with the watches scene. So I've been doing a lot of research on watches, how they run, the complications, the crown, the actual self-winding, whether you have to wind it yourself and all the different things. So just, different evolution of content creation and some of the things that, I'm interested right now as far as the year is, whatever it is. So in that whole world, that whole dynamic of creating the show, I learned how to fail a lot because 300 shows in, I think for Blog Talk Radio, I did about 113 plus shows, give or take, which was a turnkey call-in system, which was cool. And then from Blog Talk Radio, I was at a crossroads, at some point. I was like, okay, so now that we're here, where do we go from here? Do we continue with Blog Talk Radio, or do we actually do something else, right? So from there, I decided to do the company called Libsyn, right? So Libsyn archives most of my shows now, which, and it gives me destinations of, other platforms, or there's Google Play and things like that, which is great. So now I'm with Libsyn, and it's been really good. Definitely enjoyed their services. No issues, no challenges or anything there. Good team over there. Always putting out a great product on how to podcast and different things that they do right now. So shout outs to them, and shout outs to Blog Talk Radio, because that's where I started too. So aside from all those different things, I learned a couple of things on my way to where I am right now. So a little over 300 episodes for the show. Still love doing it, still enjoy doing it. But what I noticed is what really got me to the point that I really wanted to record a show was that I had some desires in the past that were never addressed, right? And I'm actually addressing it right now as I'm talking to you. So I always wanted to be a rapper, right? Always wanted to be a rapper because I appreciated the ability for the individuals who crafted that particular art to just speak on the fly and all the things that they were thinking about, but at the same time it made sense, right? So I always appreciated that. So even back in the day, back in high school, I used to write a lot of poetry and stuff like that, and used to make it rhyme, that kind of a thing. And I think that I always had a passion to write, always had a passion to speak about things. But I noticed that even growing up, I wasn't really as vocal as I am now, but I always had the ability to be vocal. I just never had a way to express it, right? So podcasting, what it allowed me to do is to express myself. Podcasting in and of itself is a mechanic, right? And the art is my ability to express myself and the conversations that I have with individuals that are invited on the show and things like that. So that whole dynamic of creating the show, trying to figure out the process of what mic to use. Do I need a mixer, not a mixer? Should I do an MP3 or M4A or whatever those things are? You know, I had to learn that on the fly, so I had to fail a lot, to the point where I realized that there are some individuals already out there giving those kind of lessons on how to do the mechanic, but they don't necessarily can teach you how to do the art, because the art comes from you, right? It comes from in here. So the art comes from you, but the mechanic can be learned. So I think the mechanic is much more easier as far as podcasting is concerned than the actual art, because the art is actually finding yourself. So who are you behind the mic? Who are you, you know, when you're having a conversation? How are you actually having the conversation with individuals who come on the show and all those different things? So those things I had to learn. And I'm still learning how to be better at that. So I think what happened over time, you know, so as podcasting is concerned, is the more I recorded, I believe I got better, right? I believe that. I don't know if I consider that I'm the best at what I do, right? And I think that what I do may be a little bit different, you know, as far as the art form is concerned, not necessarily the mechanic. Okay, so the mechanic could be standardized, right, for most things. But I think the art form, I think that I'm great at what I do, right? So over time, I learned the process. You know, I learned how to record. I learned how to distribute. I learned the right companies to contact in regards to even make my studio what it is today. You know, to a point where I'm actually comfortable with the equipment that I have. And, you know, some things can be improved, like my i3 laptop in front of me right now. But outside of that, you know, there's the microphone works great. I think the audio comes out nice. I think the software, whether it's Audacity or Audition, you know, you can actually work that out according to what you need for, you know, your particular process. And I think the editing style is interesting. You know, I think it went from taking out a lot of the ums in a conversation to sometimes I leave them now, because it actually shows that it's not a robotic editing session. You know, I actually take the time to just listen through, and even whether it's and as I'm thinking about this, to have this conversation with you right now, is when I listen to ESPN or some major network, they actually have the ums and the actual video. And I think that's great, because it shows that even at that particular platform, whether it's an ESPN or something like that, where they're still using Skype and they're still using the actual phone conversations and interviews, and they're still using the format with a 2-seater, a 3-seater for the video. They're still looking down at a tablet to actually ask the questions to the individual, to that guest or the panel that is there. So some of the things that we actually have at our disposal, and we can learn from, you know, the best of the best or whatever that network is, and apply that to our individual style of creating content. I think that's great. We have all that information there. So just think about that and just extend that a little bit. So video has always been an interesting thing for me, whether I wanted to do it right away or not do it right away. But I definitely want to do a lot of video sessions, because I think that it's time, right? And to be honest with you, it was time in 2016, it was time in 2015, and it was time even in 2014 to do video. But the thing is, it's time to do video. Now, so for, and I know I just said so for the individuals who are considering doing video, you should just do video, because the engagement, okay, so one of the things that I looked at today being, I don't know what today is, I think is the 31st, is the fact that the engagement on video right now, Facebook is doing a lot of promotion for that. So if you want that organic reach, you should be on video, period. There's no reason why you're not on video right now. Okay, so now Instagram, on the other hand, so just some statistics I was looking at earlier, makes up for 92% of the engagement right now. Okay, Twitter makes up for 1% of the engagement. And what am I leaving out? Facebook makes up for 7%. So you actually look at the particular engagement right now, whether it's video or actual, the billboard type format of posting, which happens on Instagram, which I believe that everyone should have an Instagram account, not just for the selfie type thing, but for the ability to actually do your own billboards, because that's really what you're doing. Whether you take a picture of your car, take a picture of yourself, take a picture of the food, take a picture of whatever you're taking a picture of, you're actually doing a billboard for yourself on your particular profile. Now, what comes out of that, just let's just go with it. What comes out of that is the ability to see other companies like your stuff, and even consider those companies to collaborate with you and whatever your content format is, whether it's lifestyle, tech, gaming, or whatever it is. So you have the ability to actually contact those companies, or even like their stuff, or reply to whatever they said on your particular photo. And then from there, you're able to begin an actual conversation to consider working with them, right? So Instagram is your billboard, and Instagram right now is the engagement place. You need to have an Instagram account, or you need to resurrect your Instagram account to actually start using it for the billboard effect. Whether you're driving, you see that billboard of, next exit, 250 is Cracker Barrel or whatever it is. That's Instagram, and you need to start using it like that to make your own billboard for your own life. So that's Instagram and some engagement stuff as far as conversation. So podcasting for me now, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do my billboard postings on Instagram for podcasting. But I think that I'm not even going to consider doing that anymore as much as I was planning to. Now I'm just taking some nice quality pictures on Instagram and tagging them however many tags you need. Because if you have a low following, you need more tags. If you have a high following, like a Kardashian, you don't need that many tags because you're known, right? And trying to map that out for my particular brand, whether it's lifestyle, gaming, technology, and stuff like that. That's how I'm using that. So going back to the original conversation, I started podcasting definitely to have my own content out there. And I've been having a lot of fun doing that with the interviews and the conversations and the concise, content creation process. A lot of failing along the way, and I'm still learning a lot with that particular platform. But now is the time for me to really take the time to engage you in video, and I definitely want to do that. So I definitely wanted this particular video to be just that, just me actually exercising the ability to talk and trying to be as comfortable as I can while I'm looking at this thing here. It's very interesting for me to try to get in that space and even have a nice organized background so it doesn't look real with some old games back there, some PlayStation, some Xbox 360 stuff hanging back there. But at the same time, just wanted to engage you in some of the things that I've been thinking about as far as 2017 is concerned, with my journey as far as podcasting is concerned, as well as considering video and just bits of video that I'm going to begin posting on social media, whether that is Facebook or Instagram or even YouTube, right? So I definitely wanted to have this particular conversation with you. I hope you enjoyed listening and even watching this particular video, and just my mannerisms. I'm trying to get used to how I do this thing on the actual video. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.